Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio, Mondays at 1 and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila. Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio, Mondays at 1 and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest, Ashley Armstrong. She is the hidden rules expert. So she is also a best-selling author, and she helps product companies find millions of dollars they're leaving on the table by leveraging the largest platform in the world. Her consulting firm specializes in navigating Amazon's hidden rules for award-winning companies like Sustain Natural and Viome. Featured in Entrepreneur, Medium, Thrive Global, The List, TV, CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox News goes on. All right, welcome to the show, Ashley.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is amazing.
So my show is based on my book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And this year we have had some situations.
Oh yeah, to say the least.
Yes. And so with that, I'd love to start out with a little bit about your journey and any possible tough situations for your business or your personal life that happened where then you got back on track.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't think there's anyone in business that doesn't have like a roller coaster of a story and multiple ups and downs. For myself, there's quite a few, and I'm like, which ones do I choose? Really, at the end of the day, I guess when I got started, I was in another country, not my own country, had small children. I'm like, what do? I can't necessarily work here, start something. And I did. I built a 7-figure business manufacturing products, and it was such an amazing opportunity. But I hired a con artist, unfortunately, which was a direct referral. And because of that, one part of my business just totally crashed and burned. So it was like, oh my gosh, that was definitely one of the big things. Another one that we went through is a level 5 hurricane that destroyed absolutely everything. We had to get air vac'd out, and we thought we lost everything. We couldn't go home for over 3 months, and all our money was in a bank that we could not access. We couldn't get into anything. It was just like sleeping on floors with friends or family or whatever we could do, and trying to also still have a business thriving. And thank God I did have an online business. But it still really hurt different aspects of it. So it was like constantly coming back up again. It's like you fall down, you resituate, you cry a little bit,
Right.
and you get back up and you just do it again. And that's the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship in my eyes, is if you know how to do it the first time around, which is why so many multimillionaires and could lose it all and then get right back up and do it again, because you know how to do it. And then every time you do it, you just get better at it, faster at it, and stronger, which is what I like to call is flexing your failure muscle.
So true. And I mean, it used to be fun to just have freedom and be couch surfing and this and that, but it's different when you're older and you have your everything there, your home. It's a different thing, and I think it has a lot to do with mindset.
Oh, huge.
Yes. And, you know, when you were in that situation and the hurricane and everything, and you were misplaced from your home, you already had this knowing that I've got this. I'll be back on track. So that makes a difference. Now, people listening in this year that have been hit with different rock bottoms, and they maybe have been displaced from their home due to our hurricane season, which has been crazy this year, as well as on the West Coast, we've had more fires. Do you have any tips for people in business that end up being displaced due to these situations?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, lean into it. You know, I find a lot of people sometimes they end up, they almost want to like shy away from it. You know what I mean? And they almost like avoid it. And, you know, I've gone definitely through a hell of a lot of ups and downs, way more than what you've talked about here, but like lean into it, feel all the emotions and release them, let them out, like cry and flip out, get in the fetal position if you have to for a few minutes. Because as soon as you just let go of the energy, it allows you to have space to think clearly on like, what's the first right next step. And that's really one of the most important aspects that I could say for most people, is just making sure that you push forward, you get a plan in action, and then just surround yourself with people who can support you. You know what I mean? So in the entrepreneurial space, a lot of the times don't really have a lot of a support system, because people don't know what we go through. And our family members don't really know what we're going through, because they're not in it on the day-to-day grind. So if you don't have a local support group, definitely look for an online support group to kind of help you with that. And as you say, mindset is the biggest part about all of that. But just having a sounding board, someone who can give you some perspective, someone who you can just bounce ideas off of, like, this is where I'm at. I've lost everything. How do I start from scratch? It's like, no, you're not starting from scratch. You already know what you've done before. Let's just pivot and get you back up on the horse again and just continue to move forward. And really, at the end of the day, your business moves at the speed of relationships. So no matter how far down or on the bottom of the barrel you are, reach out, make connections. And it might take a little bit longer maybe to get the cash in hand that you kind of need, without, you know, having like that pitching heat sort of like, oh my God, I really need to make some money. But just make those connections. And then it's amazing how quickly those connections can make connections. And then all of a sudden you're back on the horse again, you know?
Yes, definitely. And for me, I lost my home to a house fire in 2017, which was why that's when I started writing the book. And so it's something that took a while, because it's very much involved with different rock bottoms and how to get back on track. But it's a formula that I used, and I realized I used it over and over again in life when things happened. And within a month, I moved to Beverly Hills. I got invited to work with leading a team and teaching online courses, working in a beautiful penthouse. And it was incredible. And so it all depends, because a lot of people were stuck for a long time. And yes, there is still a grieving process when you lose things like that. I pitched photos, things I couldn't replace. You know, those ones I always was going to digitize the photos, and I only got one photo album out. So it's one of those situations where we just do the best. But I had a knowing. I had no doubt. The same thing is once you fall off, you're able to get back on, not a problem.
Absolutely. And then, you know, one of the beautiful things is one of my mentors, Jen Gottlieb, likes to say is like, sometimes shit needs to happen in order for a shift to happen. And so if we can look at the silver lining of the bad things, sometimes the most amazing, beautiful opportunities, you know, rise because of it.
Exactly. I mean, I had finished traveling the world for 7 years. Things were great. And I was like, okay, I'm finally going to buy a home again and settle down. And my daughter was going to move in with me and go to school. And I thought, okay, Ventura is really nice by the beach. Well, there was just bigger and better plans, Beverly Hills. And so I didn't even consider that. So things worked out and I had no idea. So sometimes there is a gift in that. And it also pushed me to finally write that book. I've done a lot with other people, collaborative and scripts and this and that. And so it was like, but I never did my own book. And so it was kind of a fun journey. And when something really is your passion and your purpose and you're living on purpose, you're doing your talent and your truth, doors will open as long as you keep walking forward. That's
Absolutely
it. Now I'd love to learn more about the hidden rules.
Yeah. Well, I've been very blessed that with my ups and downs and reaching out and networking and, finding people that I've partnered up with over the years, some of the biggest names in our e-commerce industry. I had the beautiful blessing of creating programs, working with thousands and thousands of students, software tools, you name it, we were basically doing over the last 5 years or whatnot. And what we end up finding is a lot of the times there's like the shiny object syndrome, and I'm totally guilty of it as well. I have a problem. I want to fix it. There's something over there that looks like it might help me. Then there's something over there that might help me too. But really at the end of the day is trying to just minimize the amount of all of that external work and just looking for like the hidden rules. Is leveraging what you already have. At the end of the day, a lot of the times when you come into businesses, you end up realizing you actually have all the parts. It's just like a really messed up puzzle on the table. And all we have to do is like put them together appropriately in order to make that beautiful picture. So like the hidden rules behind finding the money that you're leaving on the table, especially using platforms like Amazon, which is the largest one in the world. They have like 1.5 million app users that are using the phone to purchase. We have 4,000 products going out the door every minute. You know what I mean? So it's like one of the platforms that you have to be on, even if you don't use it as a main distribution channel. And so for a lot of companies that I work with who are larger, well-established companies, they have everything going, they have their wholesalers. And I'm like, there is a whole other marketplace over here that we can go fishing and find some new customers and move them over into your platform so you can capture them and remarket to them and, launch new products for them and so on and so forth. So, there's a lot of ways that we kind of use like the hidden rules of, pulling back the curtains, seeing what's working for larger companies. So smaller companies can also jump onto that bandwagon and take advantage of, what we have learned over the decade of doing this.
And it's so much easier now than it was as far as stores and retail and being able to sell. Now they have drop shipping and all these things. Okay. Like I opened gift stores when I was 23. I had one that was 5,000 square feet. I have no idea why the landlord signed that lease. And it was $5,000 a month. I remember that too, because that was like $5 million. And I had negotiated 6 months free. So I was like, I'm going to make this work. And I learned marketing. I learned so much really fast because I had to pay this crazy rent. And then I said, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to buy the rest of the building. So I bought 4 other buildings and had 4 other stores in California. And then later, when I had my 6 children, I have 3 I adopted, 3 that are mine. I said, you know what? I want to be with my kids more. So I closed all the stores and I did move a lot online, but it was much different then. You still had to warehouse things. And now it's so simple. Oh my gosh. I mean, so when my house burned down, I did get back involved with that. And within a month, I was also making a side business of 8,000 to 10,000 on Amazon. I did Amazon, eBay, a whole bunch of different ones. And I was doing that because I had to until the insurance money does not come in a minute.
Yeah. And like a year or longer sometimes.
And with the car and everything gone at once, you have to figure things out sometimes and be resourceful. And I had just put a lot of my savings as the down payment on the house. So Of course it was the perfect storm. And I was like, wow, within a month, I got this coming in just from doing online. And I hadn't been on there for quite a while. So it's not that hard to do. And even if you start small, that extra income can make a big difference this year.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's every single sort of business that you get into, there's like rules of doing it, like the rights, the wrongs. Every platform has their way of what their rules are, their terms of service, so on and so forth. So as long as you do your due diligence and you kind of like, figure that part out, there's so much free YouTube videos, there's free training inside platforms, there's free Facebook communities that help people. Like there's, like you said, there's so much at our fingertips. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
In one aspect. So don't take on too much, because if you're doing too many things, you're going to make millimeters worth of progress. If you do one or two things, you can make miles worth of progress. So keep that in mind. But there's so much available to us nowadays, and you're absolutely right. It is so much easier to be able to create, side hustles or multiple income streams if you just dedicate yourself to following through with it.
Yes. And now is the time, if you're listening to the show live or on the radio, on demand, on TV, you're going to find that now is the best time as we get into the holiday season. October, get your stores up and running now for the holiday season, because that's when you're going to make the most.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like there's a lot of accidental entrepreneurs that are happening right now. And what I mean by accidental entrepreneurs is that someone has been sitting with the idea, like, I want to get online, or I want to pivot, or I want to do a YouTube series, or whatever it might be. Because of the pandemic, the silver lining, I think, for a lot of people is it really forced them to like take action and actually do it. Stop thinking and hoping and wishing and wanting and putting it on their to-do list, but never actually executing it. And so a lot of people are just jumping on, one, to save their families, obviously save an income stream, but two, it really allowed them to move forward on that particular aspect. So yeah, it's really, really interesting how many accidental entrepreneurs have come on board. And, I've written articles about it, even an entrepreneur trying to help them to make sure they understood all those like little hidden rules, to making sure that they're not missing anything. Because when it comes to being a business, as you know, there's 3 requirements. You need to have time, energy, and capital investment. And depending on what more or less you have to input more or less based on whatever it is that you have to begin with,
Yes. And, I had one of my grown kids take over my store business because I didn't have that much time, but still it's doing well, and it's paying, college tuition for kids and all the fun money and this and that. So it is very helpful to have these. Now, about the hidden rules. So how do you share with people about how to find these hidden rules?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Traditionally, I've been partnered with other individuals in our industry, and we create programs and whatnot. And right now, I'm actually in the process of creating a 5-day challenge, which is starting November 2nd, specifically to help businesses, online businesses, all e-commerce platforms, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, all the way across the board, to capitalize on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Fourth quarter is when all e-commerce sellers, generally speaking, make all the money throughout the whole year. This is the time to really jump on board if you're going to do it. And so again, my 5-day challenge, it is free. And it's really just it's properly positioning your product lines online in order to sell, so we don't lose anyone through the cracks. Because a lot of the times, like a brick and mortar store, you're sitting around, you're waiting for someone to walk in, like you're folding clothes 10 times a day and cleaning, you're just waiting in order to serve someone. But online, it's not necessarily the case. You do have to put a little bit more elbow grease in to get some traffic. So the traffic that you do end up getting, you want to do everything you possibly can to make sure that you're converting that person into a sale. And a lot of times, companies, they're more worried about the product that they're selling and, of course, all the back end tools. But a lot of the times they end up missing the really important aspects of positioning their products online to sell, because it's not tangible. The consumer can't touch it, they can't feel it, they can't try it on. So unless you are using infographics with arrows going, hey, there's an inside pocket here, there's a reflector thing on the back, there's a detached hood, the consumer's not going to know it, and then they're going to jump off and they're going to go to your competition, or they're going to go elsewhere. So, we have 7 seconds now to capture someone's attention compared to 7 minutes 15 years ago. So you better do a damn good job at making sure you're capturing their attention, and you're using graphic representation and the positioning of your listings to convert people into buying from you. And so that's really what I want to be focusing on, and help everyone to just get as much money and make as much of a impact on their business this year is really what my goal is.
And I think it's going to be an incredible year for the online because of
Oh yeah, it already is.
Yes. And I know that I just order things online because I don't have time,
Yep,
work
exactly.
as many hours as I do. And so that has been a huge shift for many people. I mean, I even have groceries delivered now. It's awesome. We are so spoiled in today's generation. It's great.
Yeah, now, and you can have it now, which is, it's absolutely crazy in some aspects. So yeah, like even like as a perfect example with Amazon, even with the pandemic, they went up 60%. And then we had Prime Day, which also just blew everything out of the water. You know what I mean? So now we're coming into Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And I personally know a lot of people who did not participate in Prime Day, and Prime Day was booming, right? So now we have a huge amount of people who did not participate in that, and they will be participating in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and of course the months towards Christmas. So, or the holiday season, depending on which holiday you're celebrating. But yeah, so it's just like capitalize on that and get ready. Like there's no waiting time. It's like hustle.
Now is the time. And I remember when I had the gift stores, it was really June that we purchased for Christmas and holiday, that whole holiday season. And that was a big thing. So by the time the holidays rolled around, I was kind of like done with Christmas because I had to order everything and go to the shows. And now it's so simple because you can just order everything online and do the on-demands and different options. So it's just incredible, the opportunity that's there for anyone to get started, and it's not a high cost to entry either. So you figure you start out, and it may be this year, if you're just starting and you've never done this before, obviously you're not going to make $1 million. You might, but but you will still, you'll make something. And then the secret is to stay in line once you get in line, which is something Keith Cunningham says a lot. And that's the thing about keep building it, changing it, and working on it. And by the next season, the next big sale day, you're going to get better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yes. So what tips do you have? I know you have your challenge coming up. Do you want to share more about what you're offering in that, or what tips you would have for people just starting out that have no clue what to do?
Yeah. So for someone who's starting out, because again, like I've been really rallying behind the accidental entrepreneurs. And the reason why I've really been doing it is because I actually had a chance to work with another company where I was actually interviewing individuals who were wanting to become business owners. They wanted to take a program. They wanted to kind of get online. They wanted to start a business. And I have to tell you, 9 out of 10 people that I spoke to did not have what it takes to be an entrepreneur at that moment. They hadn't done their due diligence. They hadn't done their research. They hadn't sat there and went like, okay, how much time do I have? How much energy do I have? How much capital investment? Because you have to have capital investment no matter what. Yes. Sometimes it's cash. Sometimes it's like energy and elbow grease. But at the end of the day, there's still investment that needs to be done no matter what. And making sure that you're okay with the idea that it is an investment. I spoke with individuals who are like, well, I can't put any money into doing a business that's taking food from my children. And I'm like, no. Okay, well, let's reframe that. Let's figure out what that mental block might be for you. Because if you're going to be investing in a way to make more money, it's like putting money into the stock market. You're putting money in, hoping to get money out. Yes, there's strategy behind it. Sometimes it's a win, sometimes it's a lose, but that's just life in general. But so I had a really beautiful opportunity to speak to individuals who had the idea, they had that shiny object. I want to sit on a beach with margarita. They wanted it, but they just had no idea what was behind the curtain. And so pulling back that curtain for individuals who want to get started, go through that list, look at your bandwidth, time, energy, and capital investment. How much do you have? If you have a credit card, if you have a personal loan that you can do, friends, family, investors, figure it out and find out really what your barrier of entry is. And in most cases, you're looking at $2,000-$3,000 as most barrier of entry to kind of get yourself up and going. Yes, you can start a lot less than that, but I'm trying to be realistic for most people. And putting some money on your credit card, we're only paying $80 a month for the first 6 months or whatever until you earn back that. That's really not that big of a deal really at the end of the day when you really think about it, because no one has money underneath their mattress to start a business. So you have to leverage it from somewhere. But the best thing you could do, of course, as I mentioned before, there's tons of free YouTube videos and courses and programs and all these like little things. And even I'm doing like a free little program. You can definitely jump into that. The only thing that I want to advise people when they do get into that is that you're getting information for a lot of different aspects of a business. And you have to think of a business like an engine of a car. There's a lot of moving parts and they have to work systematically together in order to make you move forward. So sometimes if you don't have clear direction to go from A into Z, you're going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to be doing a lot of stuff, but it's not actually going to be generating you the income. So really at the end of the day, go and find yourself a program that does teach you A to Z to what you're looking for. I want to be a blog writer. Well, go find a program that's for blogging A to Z that's actually going to create income. I want to sell on Amazon. Do an Amazon program that's actually going to teach you how to source, manufacture yourself, or drop ship, depending on what you want to do. So the difference between that is you can manufacture your own from, like, say, over in China or within the United States, put your own brand name on it. And or you can become a wholesaler and or do drop shipping, where companies have products, you list it on your own website, and then when someone buys it from your website, that company will ship it out for you on your behalf. So you don't have to deal with logistics. So there's a few different ways of doing that. Even Shopify stores, if you go to Shopify right now, they have a few certified programs that are actually quite inexpensive that literally teach you from A to Z. This is how you build a website. This is how you find products to put on your website that are drop shipping that I mentioned before. And then this is how you create that income stream for you. It's A to Z and it's done for you. And when you are focused on a program that is like that, you will see results because you are focusing on one thing only, rather than all these like little free things of information that are around and you don't know how to connect them together. Yeah. So for someone that's going to be starting out, look for a full-fledged business program, great reviews, within your budget, of course. And sometimes even if it's not in your budget, take that leap of faith and bet on yourself, because if you are that dedicated, you will make it happen. And it will be the best money you've ever spent. The best money you can spend anywhere in the world is on yourself and your self-development, and building a business is part of that.
And with my business, and starting out at 23, I had babies, and then I had young children, as I was in the business for many, many years, I think 17 years or something. And so before I went to online and everything, and I rented out the buildings because I paid for them in full at that point. So it's just passive income now. It's awesome. But with that, what happened was I realized as a parent, involving my kids, and even like I said, I gave one of my businesses to my older, one of my kids that's in college still. And because they got involved in business, they know things that you go to school, you're not going to learn this in school.
No.
And that's like right now, since our kids are home, if you involve them, I had this now my store was 5,000 square feet. So I had, fragrances, and I had baby section. I had all kinds of different things. And I had a kids knowledge area. And so it was all the games you play to learn things. And we would sell it to, the area my store, the first store was Montrose, California, near La Cañada. It's a beautiful place, but it's an older community, or at least it was back then. And so it was a lot of grandmas came in, and I had my 8-year-old at the time, playing. He would help pick out the games, and he would play with, showing people how he's learning from these games. And everybody, they'd spend $300 to $500 a shot on all the games for the grandkids.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and so involve your family and
yes,
involve them. They're learning too, and it's actually like open source learning. It is the best way to learn. When I got into this, my family years ago was involved with clothing manufacturing when I was very young, and so I grew up with that. So I went to when they purchased the materials and when they negotiated, and that was the best training I ever had. So it was easy for me because I already had this little bit of a knowing, and then you learned. I had a lot to learn.
Yeah, so absolutely.
The first time I went to an auction to buy purses, and I ended up, the guy that usually bids on these purses. Now I know purses, and I had like guys with me that were working with me that had no clue which is what. And I was like, holy moly, these are incredible. And at the time I had like 20,000 cash after I had paid everything else, because you're paying a lot. Like when you start, you're paying so much, and you have overhead and everything. And so that was like my last big 20,000 that I had. And I bought the purses for $1 each. Wow. And I'm selling them for 100 to 500 each. and it's still a huge discount. And the funny thing is so there was a lot of purses at that price. And I'm like, we got to rent a truck and I have to go get the truck and this and that with the guys in the parking lot as they're loading. The person that normally wins the bids on those purses shows up late because there was a traffic accident, and he shows up in the parking lot. I negotiate $5 a purse and I sell half the purses, made my money.
Oh my God, I love that. That's awesome.
The guys were like, please don't do it. That's so stupid. Da 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 da. It's ridiculous. You're gonna just lose it. I said, I know what I'm doing. And they were like, okay, you got this. They never questioned me again. So that was a fun thing. So it's the homework of knowing. See, now I came from clothing manufacturing background. So I knew the products and the materials and what to look for.
Yeah.
And so when you have a knowing in your field, so when you're getting into this, don't get into something you have nothing, you don't know anything about. Go into something you love already, that you already collect and spend your own money on, because that's going to be really easy to sell. You're going to be able to sell to your peer group because they buy the same thing you do a lot of the times, and you're going to know how to talk about it, share about it, and how to buy it, what the cost is. Now, in retail, it's usually, like in the gift store, it's usually 2 to 2.5 times wholesale. At least that's what it was. Now, I don't know what it is nowadays because it's a little different, and it's a lot less with on demand because they're taking the cost. So you're getting less, way less.
Yeah, there is a lot of fees, of course, that you have to be incorporated when you're trying to figure out what your profit margins are, and of course everything else along those lines and whatnot. But that's just part of business. You just sort of add it all up and figure it out, of course. And I absolutely love, what you're talking about, and the fact that you have such a beautiful foundation. And a lot of people don't have that. Like, a lot of people don't come from entrepreneurial families, and so they're coming into this green. And I think the advice that you gave is the best advice. Go with something that like I'm, did the whole sports background. So pro athlete, family, dad, Olympics, the whole 9 yards, was pro skiers. And so health and wellness was a huge part of our lives. It also was mindset, way before we had this whole idea of manifestation and visualization. Like, back when I was a kid and racing, like, we did visualization because we had to map out the course. We had to know every turn, every inclination, you know what I mean? And all these different things, but it wasn't a verbiage that was used outside of a sport. You know what I mean? It wasn't kind of like a known thing. And so when I really kind of got out of being in the pro sport aspect, I went straight into health. So a natural path, childbirth education, because I was a mom, I'm like, I had no help. I want to help other moms figure out this process. And from there, I developed products, and then from the products went to manufacturing, and from manufacturing went to online. And so exactly what you said, I did exactly what I knew and what I was passionate about. And then I just kind of grew over the last, 15, 20 years from what I knew. And then it just kind of kept scaling from there into what I'm doing now. So
I love it. And I will probably be in one of your challenges. And then also one of my college kids is loving selling things online, and he's making over 100,000 doing that. Like,
that's awesome. Oh, perfect.
And he's like 28. And so, and so you never know. And he loves it, and it's his thing, and he's into chess things, and he's a chess, almost a master expert and all that. So he sells all that stuff, and there's a whole market because it's his passion. He's just playing. It's fun.
That's so beautiful, because you're just having fun. There's no stress. There's no, you're just kind of going with the flow of things. And
that's right.
Absolutely love that. That's amazing that you've been able to set up that foundation in order for your children to just thrive and enjoy the process. That's an absolute beautiful thing. 100%.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. So have fun with it, but get online, get on the challenge that you're offering, get online as soon as you can, start small, and just build from there. Yes,
absolutely. And that's really what it is. It's just get your foot wet, enjoy the process, and be okay with the fact that the first time you do something, it's a full-on learning experience. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. And you don't have to have a full-on win. You're not, as you said before, you're not going to be necessarily getting $1 million business off of the first thing that that you go and launch. You just be okay with it just being a learning experience. It's, it could be a golden goose egg And maybe it's just, something to go, that didn't really work this time, but now I know what to do. Now I can go back to the table. Now I know what to look for, and I'm going to just rock it next time around, right?
Yes. So this year, with so much going on, with so many people home and going through these tough situations, it's the best time to start a new business. In fact, I know a lot of people that have ended up doing an online business or something with their talent that they love to do. And you can obviously have something related to whatever you love that's an online store as an extra source of income this year. And they're not going back to a 9-to-5 because they're making way more money this way and doing what they love. So,
I actually have, just to kind of to that point, to make the barrier of entry even easier for people to get on, Facebook Marketplace is like one of the best and easiest things where you don't have to deal with listings, even though there is still a properly positioned to sell. So the program that I'm talking about, the 5-day challenge, will actually help with that. But I have quite a few friends where they would find liquidation sales, and like you had done, the dollars, purses, whatever, when it comes to children's clothes or whatever it might be, they turn around and throw it onto Facebook Marketplace for, $4 more, $10 more, or whatever. And they're building a booming business. They're bringing an extra $5K a month just by doing the hustling through that platform. There's no store set up. There's no business paperwork necessary. There's no nothing. So there's so many free ways that you can get yourself and get products out there. Even something that you sell, even like whatever's in your garage that you don't need anymore. It's the barrier of entry is so small. It's ridiculous.
Sales tax license for that, for some of these things, which is great. I remember the time that when I first started out, that first year, President Clinton was eating at, he spoke at Glendale Community College. He ate at Rocky Cola, which was a restaurant 2 doors down, and he came into my shop. So the first thing that comes in is Secret Service. And there's like 10 or 12 guys. And I thought, oh my gosh, the feds are here to get me to get and pay my sales tax, right? And the next day I hired a CPA because I was like, oh, I thought I was going to prison or something. I was rounding everything. I didn't even have my point of sale up and running at that first year.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's amazing. Oh my God.
So, ask for help when you need it, and then you learn as you go. Ask for forgiveness when you don't know something.
Like you can't know everything. There's no stupid questions. You know what I mean? Like seriously, there isn't. And the idea of failure that's brainwashed into us that it's a bad thing from school. Like, I have 2 children. 7 and grade 5 and grade 7. And one of the teachers last year, they had come home and they would just really beat them down on this failure. You can't fail. You can't have a D or even a C is like really, really bad. And I was like, with the sports background and of course the mindset that I have, especially being, a female in business, I'm just like, this is not right. No, because failure is actually one of the most important learning lessons and muscles that we need to flex. The more you fail, the more you're strengthening that muscle, and the easier it is for you to get back up and get going again. And so I had to reframe my kids' mindset on baby, it's okay. Failure is an important part of us. Sure, it has a negative connotation. Yes, you're going to hear about people talking about it, that they don't want you to do it and whatever, but mommy wants you to do it. It's okay. It's like when a toddler starts to learn how to walk, they fall on their face. And when they get back up and try again, we applaud them. When did that stop? Why did we stop doing that when we're older in life? You know what I mean? So it's it's one of those things that kind of gets me.
It is so true. And I know I made lots of mistakes before I figured it out. That first year I invested a lot of money in myself and my business. I hired a marketing team to come in, and I actually made 10 times what I made that first year because of the marketing team. And I didn't need them forever. It was 3 or 4 months that they worked with me. And then I learned about collaborative marketing. And I had Crabtree and Evelyn fragrances. And they had, that is hard to get the licensing for that. I outsold their stores in the Galleria, which the Americana now, I guess, but I outsold their stores And they
Wow.
paid for all my advertising, which brought all kinds of people to my store. They actually gave one of my top, because I had all my little ones, I gave it to my top manager, Lori, and she took a trip to London for free. From
That's amazing.
sold so much. And it's just perfume. Guys,
Yeah.
imagine perfume. And so whatever it is, and you learn, and then you don't have to invest all the time in it. It's just getting started. You need to ask for help, get on the programs, take the challenge, and learn from different people to get an idea so that you know what's going to work for you and your market.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I love that. Like, oh, people, you can really see why you have such a huge tribe of people who just adore you and follow you, because you have gone through all the thick and thin yourself, and you're like an open book. You're transparent about everything that you've experienced and everything that's happening, and how you got to where you are today. I just think that's absolutely amazing. Oh, we lost you. I don't know if you're still on, but hello, everybody. We're still going live. I love it. Gotta love malfunctions. Technology is a beautiful thing. It works when it works, and when it doesn't work, it's a pain. So we'll see if we'll get her back here in a minute. Well, if anyone is watching this live, which I know there's going to be a lot of people, I would love for you to put down into the comments an idea of a business that you're thinking of doing, and or put into the comments if you've started a business and the last little bit. That would be amazing. So I'd love to come back and see your comments. It's really amazing. We always want to make sure that we're lifting each other up in this entrepreneurial space, because it's not necessarily easy. And if you are available, then you want to come to higherholidayconversions.com for the challenge. And I'm still going live. Oh my gosh, it's just me now. I think Sheila's going to be coming back here in a second. Let's see. Gotta love technology. So we'll see you guys at higherholidayconversions.com. I would love to help you get your online store properly positioned to take advantage of the holiday season. And that doesn't matter what platform you're selling on, even Facebook Marketplace, from Amazon to eBay and Etsy, your own website, whatever it might be. So let me know if you guys are still following us down below in the chat. Let us know if you've started a business in the last few months, and or if you're thinking about starting a business, because it would be really amazing to make sure that we know what people are doing so we can help each other out, right?
Yes, I'm so glad you put let's see. Oh, let's
You're
see.
still green.
I know.
Oh, now you're out again. Technology today. Oh, I love it.
Interesting.
I love it. There
we go. You know what? We had a power outage and everything went out.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just kind of kept going and chatting. I was asking everyone if they've started a business to write in the comments down below who are watching live. If they're thinking about starting a business, give us an idea of what you're doing so we can all help each other out. And then I also said, hey, if you want to learn about properly positioning, you can go to higherholidayconversions.com and join my challenge. So I was just kind of like having a little bit of a party here.
Wonderful. That is so good. Yes. And we are actually coming to the end of the hour. So you shared where people can reach you. Do you want to share that one more time?
Yeah, well, for myself personally, I am rebranding. So you're going to see a different picture, but I am amazauthority.com, AMAZ authority.com. But the challenge is higherholidayconversions.com. And that's going to be the 5-day challenge to help you make as much money as you possibly can in this holiday season, sell as many products as you possibly can this holiday season, capitalize on the fourth quarter.
All right. Well, thank you, Ashley. All right. And we will see you next time. Okay. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. You're so amazing. I truly appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you are just tuning in, you have reached the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and we are here today on NBC's KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. Today, Ashley shared an incredible journey that she went through to reinventing her business and personal life. And that's something that we can do as many times as we need to in our life. So I'd like to share with you a little bit from the book, my bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And I'd like to share with you chapter 11 on lifestyle design. Now, this is just going to be one portion of that chapter. And if you want to hear or listen to or read the entire book, it is available at SheilaMac.com as well as Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. So we're going to take a listen. The other thing I'd like to invite you to is if you go to my website, SheilaMac.com, SheilaMac.com, there you can take the free Introduction to the Boots Formula course. It's just a 30-minute free course that helps you if you are getting ready to design life on your terms. That's a great place to start. So now take a listen to lifestyle design. Here we go. Chapter 11, Lifestyle Design. This chapter is going to look a little different than the other chapters. Instead of starting out with a rock bottom moment and ending with that person's moment of empowerment, we are going to compare the lives of two women. The life of Anne. Anne was very athletic growing up. As a young adult, she was active and healthy and loved to exercise. She helped rescue animals, volunteering at the local shelter to share her love with those animals. Then she got married and had kids. Anne gave up a lot of her passions and the things that made her happy in order to please everybody else. Her husband is allergic to animal dander, so she couldn't have pets at home, and she gradually stopped going to the shelter too. She didn't stay as active as she'd been when she was single. She said yes to all her friends, doing anything they asked her to. She cared for a lot of people, but she didn't set boundaries. Anne's days were long and busy, full, but not fulfilling. Anne had a vision of how she wanted her life to look, but she woke up one day and realized that she was living a very different life. Eventually, Anne's health failed. She developed many health issues because she had stopped eating healthy foods, exercising, and taking time to rest her mind. She spent a lot of money on health care instead of spending time staying healthy. When she really needed people to help her, she didn't know how to ask. Some of her friends had more boundaries than Anne, so they said no to her requests, even though in the past she had helped them move or with accounting or babysitting. People weren't willing to give as much as she had, so she was at a loss. And with some of the people in her life who did want to reciprocate, Anne wasn't able to be vulnerable or gracious enough to receive. Anne is at the point of retiring from a job she doesn't love, and she's physically and financially unable to keep up with her friends and family. She sees her friends doing work they're passionate about and talented at, and it affects her self-worth when she compares her life to theirs. She feels stuck, upset, and resentful, and she's angry with herself for letting life slip by. Anne thought she was doing the right things. She was a good student, a good daughter and sibling, the one who didn't need so much attention. She was taught to put everybody else first, and she's done an amazing job of teaching everybody else to treat her like a doormat. She never filled up her own self, and now she has a very painful void in her life. The life of Barbara. Barbara has designed her life and lives it by her design. She has still done things for other people, but she follows her own definition of happiness and success. Interesting things happened in her childhood, but at some point, she decided that she was going to live life on her terms. Barbara made a lot of mistakes. She tried to live her passion 3 or 4 different times in different ways. It didn't work out at first, but she was determined. At first, she wasn't even sure what that looked like, but she knew it would involve art, dance, and educating children. As it unfolded, she started teaching children to read and created a story time program. Looking back, she laughs about her ups and downs. The determination to live her life and work around her passion and her gifts was considered non-traditional, so she experienced some bumps that made her strong and resilient. Barbara kept solid rituals, routines, and boundaries in place. She eats healthy foods and takes care of herself so she can help other people too. She made her self-care a priority, knowing that she was modeling that for her children. Barbara and Anne are the same age, but Barbara looks much younger because she's healthier and happier. She wakes up in the morning and is excited to go to work. When Barbara looks back at her life so far, she's at peace. She knows she's done her highest good. No part of her feels that she wasted time on things that didn't align with her values. She lives exactly the life she was supposed to, the life she chooses. And she's excited for whatever comes next. You only get one. Anne has lived her whole life based on what other people wanted, whereas Barbara has lived life for herself. And it's still full of love and other people. Which life would you choose? Maybe you choose a little of each. These are extreme examples, so maybe you choose neither. The point is that it's your life and you get to choose what it looks like. Anne didn't choose to design her own life, but it's not too late. It's not over for her. It doesn't matter what your age is. Until you're not here anymore, you can still make a change. The rest of your life can become the best part of your life. All the decisions you make have an impact on your future, on your whole life. They build upon each other. If you don't decide how you're going to live your life, somebody else is going to decide for you, and most people are happy to do that. They're happy to sell you the wrong house so they can make a commission. They're happy to put you in a job you don't like for less pay so you do all the work. But if you're not happy, it's not a blessing. I'm not a Christian Scientist, but Mary Baker Eddy, the founder of Christian Science movement, said, "Whatever blesses one, blesses all." If you're not happy, or if you're not living your essence, your truth, your life, it's hard for you to send happiness to other people in your life. But when you are happy and using your talents and gifts, there's no competition. There's no ego. You're just connected to everything and everybody in love, and it's beautiful. Everyone has that beauty in them, in the way they're here and who they are. We're all amazing, talented, beautiful, incredible people in our own right. When we try to shift and fit into a mold of who we believe we're supposed to be, the adult who never plays, who goes to work and takes on debt to buy a house, it kills our souls. Every day we lose sight of who we really are. How can you be happy when the most important parts of you are hidden or quieted because you followed somebody else's rules? How many people have felt like they had to go to school to become a doctor or a lawyer just because their parents wanted them to? And they're miserable. If they were living their truth, they would be happy, and that's worth even more than money. That allows them to attract the right peer group and a partner who's aligned with their truth. It may sound obvious, but when you're not living your truth, you're living a lie. When that's the case, you may say that you want something, but it doesn't align with you because it's not real. And you can't fake a life and a lie for long. The real you, the beautiful, amazing essence of you, is going to escape every time. Free your soul. It's time to free your soul. Start by figuring out your temperament, talents, and what you really love. You can refer back to the reboot activity in Chapter 6 to get started. There are surveys and tests you can take, but you have to be honest with your answers. So honest it may even hurt other people's feelings. Like the parents who always dreamed of you becoming a doctor while you wanted to be a cruise ship comedian. Doing this will free your soul to go be who you're really supposed to be. And when you are living the life you're supposed to, you're going to help people in your own way. You're going to live your purpose because that's just who you are. When you're fully living, you're able to fully contribute to society. Although you're doing more self-care, although you're just living your truth and your essence on your terms, you're going to serve far more people. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. Finding your truth and designing your life based on that truth and your passion serves a higher purpose and a higher good. It serves humanity far more than doing what you or others believe you're supposed to do. So it's actually the least self-centric thing you could ever do. Again, this is the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest, and I'm giving you some homework. Grab a copy of my latest book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. That's right. If life has knocked you down, get ready to pick yourself back up and give your problems the boot. I look forward to hear about your read, and we'll see you next time. You may get a copy of Bootstraps and Bra Straps on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle, as well as at www.sheilamack.com. As always, I wish you life, love, laughter, and light.